First time ever fishing in a kayak here on Clear Lake, California. It's pretty early in the season here, pre-spawn. Water temps were in the low to mid 50s. And these fish should be schooling up. So tune in. Appreciate you guys watching. Should be a good day. Never know what to expect out here. It's a special fishery. Any given cast could be a 2.5 pounder like that little short stubby guy was, or it could be a double digit. It's a really special place. So tune in. We're gonna throw this soft vibration bait you guys may have seen me fishing to try to find these schools of fish, and then from there we'll throw some big bait stick lines and look for some heavy weights.
LRPs. Some of the best yet. Some of the best yet. They fight like that, like that, like that. Big bass, double digits.
Kick up the fire right on top.
Yeah. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Oliver and I, of course. We're throwing the big bait on the kayak today. Yeah. And a giant, but a good one. And I appreciate every fish that wants to eat a big glide bait like this Gancraft 230 here. Gosh. He cracked it. If you guys haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Nah, it's not big enough. Subscribe to the channel. If you guys have any interest in throwing a big bait in the kayak, I suggest you pursue it, because this is a stealthy way to get on these fish. You can sneak up on them so much easier. It's pretty amazing the amount of bites and engagement I get at the rod tip and next to the kayak versus the big fiberglass boat. It's a real thing. So stay tuned. Let's see if we can get these things fired up. God, these things are so fat around. Once again, smoking that bait. Gosh, man. This place and honestly Pudding Stone have like the healthiest, cleanest looking fish. Stretch my thumb. We've got that Nomad Vertrex, and I'm fishing it on a 7-foot rod. I think this is a Z-crank Elseil from Megabass America, of course, and it's a 7-footer, perfect for the kayak. Not too long, not too short. I can still get some nice long bomb casts to cover water here. on this big flat that I'm exploring. And I'm fishing it with a pretty fast gear ratio, Gancraft Mago 001. It's pretty much a fancy Tatula. 8-to-1 gear ratio. Helps me pick up that slack quickly, especially when I detect a bite. And one of the key components to this, and this is something I do a lot differently than a lot of these guys, is I fish braid to fluorocarbon leader. Later in the year, you'll start getting a lot of grass on these flats, and it's just so much easier. Oh gosh, I just got rocked. So much easier to rip that grass free off those hooks with that low stretch braid. And I can always be in touch and in tune with my bait. I can tell when it's fouled, I can tell when I'm in the mud, I can tell all kinds of things. And I've got to make a couple of adjustments because a lot of these guys fish straight fluorocarbon. A lot more stretch in their system. So you'll see I'm not swinging on my bites. I'm just lifting and winding into them, and I'm just not yanking on them as hard. It's hard to beat that feel. I've done it time and time again. I fish with so many of my buddies that are still on that straight fluorocarbon deal, and there are just times when I can get super tuned into a bait like that. And it's going to generate more bites and more fish for me. Not a bad one. Bunch of little schoolies here. Buck system, guys like to call them. Look at that. I mean, he had it drilled. Oh gosh, this is a fun way to catch them. Look at that. Right in the schnoz. See that? Take a picture of this guy. Awesome. And hopefully we're locked in on a school of fish here. I'm fishing pretty basic here in this kayak. I don't have live scope. I don't have hardly anything. I don't even have a fish finder in this thing. I'm relying solely on my instincts and my bait to be my fish finder. And the nice thing is once you kind of get locked into an area, you can spot lock. Spot lock in a kayak. That's wild. Here we go. So we can duplicate it. This is a perfect example of getting in a simpler kayak or boat platform. Kind of getting back in touch with my roots. Fishing out of the float tube as a kid was a big deal for me. Getting into rental boats with no electronics, coffee can anchor. Like, this takes me back, resets me. Make sure I don't get soft. I'm forced to fish this smaller area. Can't just run across the lake and zigzag all over the place and cover ground. I can still cover some ground, but it forces me to be really efficient in the smaller area that I'm targeting. Freaking berry.
It's the biggest one yet, huh?
Yeah, maybe. You couldn't believe how heavy these things are here.
Yeah. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Got a good one?
Oh, shit. Oh, throw the motor. I got that whole thing.
LRPs. Some of the best yet. Some of the best yet. They bite like that, like that, like that. Big bass, double digits.
Pick up the fire right on top.
Low fall, blast off, trying to get some cast off. Doing this here for years, get my pass on. Dream mask on, putting in work. Snap back, got me focused, never settle on a shirt. I missed one and hit one, man, that's getting some. 2, 3, 4, 5 more, come on, that's ripping up. The way way the basement's sticking, the way my finish.